All right, everybody, welcome to the What's Next podcast, where we sit down with entrepreneurs, business professionals, and real estate agents to talk about tech, real estate, and everything interesting, really. I'm your host, Max Bergstrom, and this is What's Next. Tony, let's go!
We sit down with real estate agents and talk about how the industry is changing, thriving with technology. We look at strategy. We love it. And welcome to What's Next podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome to the What's Next podcast. It is my pleasure to be here with Gary Massa, an accomplished real estate advisor and realtor whose top goal is to help guide his clients through their journey of life and to help them attain the lifestyles, protection, and investment that they can call home. Gary, thanks for being on the show. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well, man. Thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to ask Tony this because sometimes he likes to play jokes, but we were just dancing when the intro song was on.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, Tony, are you planning on using that in any cute, creative way later on to blackmail us?
I think so.
I hope so.
I mean, hopefully he would, right?
Why wouldn't I? I mean,
That's what it's for.
Exactly.
yeah, I mean,
Right on. Well, man, where to start? So you're originally from the Bay Area, huh?
That's correct. Born and raised Sonoma Valley, just north of San Francisco, and made my way down here in 2006 to San Diego.
Okay, Sonoma. It sounds fancy. Is it fancy, or does it have a fancy name?
You know what? It's wine country. I mean, again, people know Napa, they know Sonoma. I'm actually in the downtown of Sonoma or Sonoma Valley.
Yeah.
It's a fancy place now. It was a small farm town when I was growing up, and it was a great place to grow up, but very, very small. And my family had been there. I think we can date it back pretty much by photos at least 100 years from now. So when I was starting to get in trouble for the things that, my dad and my grandfather were doing back in the early 1900s, I knew it was time to leave.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, you can't get away, the stuff that my dad talks about, what they used to do when they were kids. I'm like, if you try to do anything like that now, I mean, you'd be like, the cops would be there like that. Not that I'm a criminal or anything, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But I mean, all kidding aside, it was a beautiful place to grow up.
Yes.
Like I said, it was very small, and the aspirations that I had, I needed to go someplace else. And I kept going down to San Diego for my previous job, which was I was a sales rep for organic and natural foods companies.
Yeah, I saw that.
In chicken, right?
Yeah. That's that. I want to talk about that too.
Okay, but that brought me down to Southern California. Fell in love with San Diego, and we decided to make our move here in 2006.
Awesome. So is there I feel like Southern California, Northern California, it's just such a different vibe. And I feel like people from here talk crap about people from there and vice versa.
Yeah.
Is that true? I mean,
100%. So, I mean, when they talked about splitting the states, that's actually, I feel like a real thing. And I think it would work culturally. I don't know about, economically or whatever the arguments are. But the thing is, they're two totally different places. But at the end of the day, when I moved, I could have lived anywhere from LA, Orange County, down to San Diego.
Yes.
And I fell in love with San Diego because it really reminded me of the community that we had in Northern California, that small town community. People were a little bit more chill here.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing against LA or Orange County. It just wasn't particularly my vibe. It was just a little too fast. It was a little too much. And San Diego was that beach, that beach vibe, this kind of slower. People were super chill here. And it reminded me of home just down here, on the other side of the state.
Yeah, absolutely. So which neighborhood area do you live in?
I live in Leucadia now, so
Love it.
I've lived between Carlsbad. We lived in San Marcos or San Elijo Hills for a little bit,
Yes.
and back to La Costa, and then now we're in Encinitas, or in the Leucadia area, which we've been for a couple of years now, which I absolutely love.
Me too. I hang out there all the time.
Yeah.
And I go to Panikin.
It's a great spot.
All the time. Yeah, they've got these vegan granola bars that I think they squirt heroin in them because I just can't get
They're
into
addictive?
Oh, they're
Yeah.
so good. Yeah, they're so good. I Panikin. I know you don't use level 1 narcotics in your food. It's just really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like you grew up in a construction family.
Correct.
So is that what was the dynamic like there? And that's where you learn a bit about the value of homes and home ownership and hard work and things like that. So tell me about that experience.
Yeah, so growing up, my dad owned a concrete construction company, and between him and his buddies and our family, they would all build houses from relatively start to finish. But obviously, as you know, the foundation part is the concrete. It's the first kind of thing that goes in. And when I was, my dad was a very hardworking man, and he was always kind of wanted to teach me that way. And from when I was 9 years old, to keep me out of trouble, he had me cleaning out the footings and digging ditches. And I remember him dropping me and a buddy off, like in Napa with a gallon of water, like dig these ditches and I'll be back in an hour or whatever the case. So, and he never let me out of it. Every summer I was there till I convinced him to let me work in a grocery store when I was 16. And, but I learned a lot about, hard work, but also about construction, housing. But when I was younger, I thought that to do real estate was to either build houses and sell them, or own houses and rent them out and, fix them up or whatever, because that's all I saw about real estate, right?
Right.
But, fast forward to maybe like 2000, 2001, like in the kind of that bubble, different real estate companies were recruiting from the college that I was going to, and they're like, come to this lunch and learn. And I learned about you could be an agent, right? Like you can actually represent people to help them buy and sell property and get paid for it. And I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever heard, because I never knew that, right? And I knew people that were real estate agents growing up. I just didn't understand what they did exactly.
Right.
And so the amazing thing was I was exposed to real estate. Secondly, I learned, man, there's no way that I can actually, pay for college and do everything I need to do and not make money for 6 months. So I had to do something else for a while, hence where I went to the chicken farm. But do something else for a while until I actually was able to support myself to move into where I wanted to be.
Yeah. Okay. So then, you tell me about, so you after that, you work in a grocery store. Is that how you got into the organic foods thing?
Not exactly, actually. I mean, it was Sonoma Market, basically, if I can say the name, but basically it was like a little, hometown market, and back then organic wasn't really that big of a thing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But it was a nice way to like have a summer job, work in the air conditioned environment and have some fun and make some money. I worked in, after that in restaurants, basically. That's where I learned a lot of, work ethic and client relationships and being able to.
And regional sales manager, I mean, that's not like a dishwashing position. I mean, regional manager, that's tough. I used to work in retail, and I know, it's different, but the regional sales manager, I always thought that like the guy used to come in, he had like a big pinky ring, and the dude was like, he worked for Journey's shoe stores. But, he used to come in and like he would call everybody boss man, and he's like just this real charismatic guy, but like I would hear him on the phone, and it sounded like whoever was talking to him was like screaming at, like just like the head district manager was like screaming at him. And I'm like, man, like this guy's got a really tough job. So, I mean, you talk about like learning people skills and, how to delegate and just manage things. I mean, I would imagine that was probably a pretty, challenging and rewarding thing to do, or was it completely terrible? I don't know.
No, I mean, again, it was, my experience in restaurant was one experience. It helped me relate to the public and, whatever the case. And that was great. Right. But, just to be fair and clear, like when I went to work for, the chicken company, it really was, I was finishing up college and I decided to stop, or kind of, I finalized my viticulture and enology program, which was the Sonoma in me, but realized that like, at that point I needed to kind of stop going to school and start getting my, working more full time to support myself.
Yes.
And I ended up having to like, go home, kind of tail between my legs for some certain reasons, and went to live with my dad for, again, after going to college and living on my own for 4 years. And it was very humbling.
Totally.
But I literally went to work for, like a staffing company, like a, what is it called?
Yeah. Headhunter, recruiter.
No. It was like a short term or like a temp agency.
Oh, a temp agency.
I was trying to find a job outside of a restaurant, something, but I was just out of college. And so somebody referred me to this particular company in Rohnert Park, and this was like my second gig. I remember being like around Christmas time, like just stapling things and filing. I'm like, this is stupid. Why am I here? Second gig I got was like answering phones at the chicken farm. And it was an interesting...
Answering phones at the chicken farm?
I started
Who calls the chicken farm?
Oh, man, it's a vertically integrated company. So we did sales, we had transportation. It was a very huge organization.
I don't like in my mind, I'm just imagining like a barn and a building, and then you on the like somebody calling, you're like, hello, the chicken farm. Pardon my ignorance.
No. I mean, just for background, this was like the first organic and natural chicken company in the United States. Like the owner of this company came, brought back the whole principle of first it was just free range chicken, then it was organic chicken. Yeah,
because now it's like it's non-antibiotics and like GMOs or what. I don't even know if that's a thing. I'm
No, I mean, it's true, but that was the first company that brought it to the United States, and they had I'm not going to mention the names, but all of the huge conglomerate, like natural and organic food stores. And so it was a very big operation at the time, and we were sending chicken across the United States from this little point in Petaluma, which is the chicken capital of the world, I think still. So anyhow, like I started out answering phones, but then got into the sales department and then got into like, just learning more. And then they got me into merchandising, like, I actually talked them into building a college reimbursement program, and was able to go back to school to finish my degree through what we developed there in that program. And so
you developed and talked them into doing something that would allow you to go back to school.
That's right.
That's awesome.
They basically said, like,
that's genius.
You're at a level where we want you to get here, but you're going to need to finish school. We need a degree, etc. You got an associate's degree. It's not a bachelor's. And I said, okay, I've got it. I can go back to school. How about you help me pay for it? And they go, you know what? Why don't you write that program for me?
Yeah.
So I did.
But that's the key trait of like the entrepreneurial, successful business mind. I mean, you're like, okay, there's a problem, and then you find a solution,
right?
And you're like, I'm going to be able to do this and go back to school, and you wrote the plan for it. I mean, that's
right. And as
crazy.
Soon as I was 25 and I could rent a car, that's when they found like, okay, you can, they gave me basically the outside sales position. I was traveling all over the, all over the southwestern United States, and it just grew to like the regional sales manager until all that changed. They wanted to offer me a great job in Chicago, and I was going to San Diego, and I said jackets or wearing, board shorts all the time. And that was a hard choice to make, but we were already kind of on our way to San Diego. So we graciously thanked everybody for everything they did for us, and moved down here. Started real estate.
I got to say though, the ring. If the ring was on the pinky, your look right now is Chicago. Yeah, how you doing? I'm Gary. I'm from Chicago. You got the vibe going. I really like that. Okay, so 2006, you come down here. Now you worked in loans as well.
Yes. So when I first moved down here, again at that point I was jobless because I just quit my job. Mm-hmm. My wife had talked her company into moving her down here because I was moving us down here. So it was kind of a switch at that point in time.
Right.
But, at the time we were getting married, about to have a kid, buying our first house, etc. Like a couple buddies of mine were all doing loans at the time and convinced me to, go down that path. It was 2006, mind you, where everything was amazing and all my friends in the industry.
2 years.
Yeah. Everything was going great. So I got in with this company here in San Diego. Started, in their class to learn how to sell loans. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like we hire 20 people, we keep 2. You better, make it or not.
Yep.
And I worked. I worked as a loan officer for about 6, maybe 8 months. And as things started to kind of shift and change, they were like, "Listen, we're cutting down staff, but we see that you have more experience than the people that are here, et cetera, and just started like loading up different roles for me. And all of a sudden I was doing like from junior underwriting to the back office to I was doing their business operations. I ended up like keeping them licensed in like 48 states. I wrote their FHA department.
Oh, wow.
These are things that I had no business doing, but I actually...
So you're an overachiever. That's what you're saying.
I'm not saying that. I'd say I'm a learner. Like,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, but I mean, that's the thing. It's like...
You do anywhere you are, you do well, and it's an upward trajectory.
I do what I've got to do.
For sure.
And again, it's about just rolling up the sleeves, laying down the grit, and just making it happen. And even if I'm like, I have no idea what you're asking me to do, but I'll figure it out.
Yep.
And that's really been my, I think looking back from digging ditches to everything that I've done has always been trying to overcome the challenge.
Totally. And so then when do you switch over from loans to saying, nope, I want to be part of, the real estate transaction in the sense where I'm helping somebody achieve their dream of home ownership or, selling their home to get to the next chapter in their life?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the realistically, when I went into loans, it was to get to real estate. It was, this is where I want to be. I remembered kind of like my experience from, my younger years.
Right.
Excuse me. And knowing that a lot of, my friends had been in real estate, et cetera, this is where I wanted to be. But the lending part of it was that stepping stone to learn a little bit more. And they had a paycheck for 6 months. So that helped. But then it was basically like the latter part of 2007, middle part of 2007, where literally people were just jumping over the proverbial cliff, in terms of like the loan market melting down. And so
maybe a literal cliff for some people.
For some people, unfortunately. But the point is that, you know, I ended up talking to the lending company. I said, listen, I've got all of this kind of on automation. I will run it for you. I'm going to be like a consultant now. You know, I see where all of this is going. And, you know, and I'm going to jump over into real estate. So I created myself a salary essentially for like the next year. And I jumped over to the real estate side where, you know, even my first couple of experiences with, you know, a smaller boutique brokerage, I was helping him kind of create his loan side and getting them licensed outside of California and teaching real estate to like the sales team that I, again, did have no business doing, but we were helping doing that. In the meantime, I was learning myself. And then from there, it just kind of took off. But I literally had to explain to my family and in-laws and everybody like, hey, by the way, so I'm quitting this job. I know we've just moved here and everything else is going on. And I'm going to go into business for myself doing real estate. Isn't that great? And they looked at me like, are you absolutely insane?
You're crazy, right?
Are you insane? Did you see the news yesterday? How, you know, real estate market and everything is in the toilet. This is like 2000 and like the end of 2007. I'm like, I know. Isn't it amazing? But the point being was like, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I think that was one of my benefits at the time where people who had been in the market for a long time were maybe sulking like, hey, things have changed. I don't know what to do.
And that's when that's where the opportunity is too.
Exactly.
Like when everything goes down and the rest of the world is in a panic, that's when the smart businessman or entrepreneur is going to come in and scoop all of that up because, you know, everything's impermanent. It's going to go back up. I wish I would have bought like a city block in Detroit in like 2000 for like $9 because
exactly.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's really cool. I love, so you're able to kind of see that stuff too, like when everybody else is like, are you nuts? Like you can't do that. Like, I know this is fantastic. Like, you know, so have you always been able to cultivate that kind of, you know, optimism and just see opportunities where other people might see, you know, I don't know, this is not good, or did you have to teach yourself how to do that? Or,
you know what, I to be honest, like I want to call it like that. I had no idea. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, I don't see what's so bad. You know what I mean? Like I'm excited about it. Let's go forward. It's all going to be fine.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any idea how bad it was or how bad it was going to get. But the point was that I knew that I could dig into it and make it work. And again, even in 2008 and 9 and all those years, you know, as a brand new agent, I sold a decent amount of real estate.
You have made it work. I don't know if this is old, but it says over 250 in transaction size and over 180 million sold in residential and investment properties. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's a couple years old. And
exactly.
You know what I mean? But even those couple years, we're still decent enough to keep going and make it work. And I can't say that I was never how do I put this? I see people all the time on stage at conferences that were like, oh yeah, I got out of what I was doing and I got into real estate in year 1. I did like 30 transactions. Year 2, I did 80, and now I'm doing 400, and it's amazing and whatever. And I'm like, and that's a great story. And there's a reason why that happened to them, and that just was never me. I was always the one that got the hardest deals, like had to sweat it out. And not that they didn't, right? But like things just always, all the challenges, like I ran into. And I feel like looking back now is because I needed to learn to get to the place where I am today. But I can't tell you that the first like even 5, 6, 7 years were pretty, right? I've been in real estate for 15 years now, maybe 2007, 8. Yeah, about 15 years now. And the point being is like the first 7 or 8 were like tearjerkers. You know,
so give me a story about a time that you wanted to quit.
I don't think that I ever wanted to quit. Like there's 2 stories actually that stand out in my mind. And, you know, one of them was, you know, I had a business coach, or I had recently hired this new business coach, and she had me just calling every single day. And I just moved to a new company. And
cold calling?
Yeah. She's like, man, you got to make 100 dials a day. Yeah. And I literally was sweating it out, calling 100 dials and like just watching like my bank account being like, shh. We're coming into October and like I just needed one deal, man. And I literally was making 100, 120. I would stay there till like 6 o'clock, just still calling people and nothing was coming through. And I'm like, you know, my coach goes, well, at what point are you going to be broke? I'm like, oh, that was yesterday, you know? And, but the thing
smile and dial,
just keep going. But you know what? Like one random transaction came from a totally different source that it didn't even make sense, helped kind of keep it together. Sure. And it just got pieced together. And I was like, oh, so it just kind of prolonged it, right? Kept going. And I remember another time, and I think this was like 2017, and I remember like towards the end of the year, I think like our gross was like my gross was like $60,000, something like that, which is, you know, decent, but it wasn't ever where we wanted to be. Plus we had expenses. My wife was like, so when are you going to be done with this hobby? Like, do you think that you should maybe get a job yet?
Yeah. Do you think maybe you should be a manager for a chicken farm?
Or, you know, basically, so, you know, she's kindly started looking for employment for me as like a VP, a sales director, whatever the things that I was qualified for.
But a sure bet, right? Like something that's...
But I mean, at the end of the day, your captain's salary, you'd still be out traveling all the time. And so I remember this moment very clearly. I think it was like 3 weeks before, maybe it was beginning of December. And I text Tom Ferry, who was coaching at the time, because I saw like a position as a coach, something, I forget whatever it was. And I'm like, hey man, you think that this position's open? You know, things just aren't really, and I'm looking for like a backup. And he goes, is this what you really want to do? And I said, no. He says, then get your head out of your ass and freaking make it happen. Okay. And I wish I still had that text, but I'm pretty certain it was about what it said. And so I made an agreement with my wife that I said, if the next year we are not, and maybe that was 2016, 17 was the pivotal year, but we made a bet, like if I did not make over $100,000 that year, then I would quit and I would go to, you know, lick my wounds and I would go get a job. That next year we doubled it, and I think the income was like $230,000.
Nice.
And it's basically like essentially doubled almost every year since.
That's awesome,
since
man.
that time. So that was the biggest point, and I can't even tell you what changed. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe it was the market, maybe it was my mindset, maybe it was a lot of different things, but that was the year things turned around. Yeah.
Well, so then it's a great point to pivot kind of towards more of the mindset stuff. I love talking with agents about, and really any entrepreneur, any successful business person about this, but I'm curious to know, like, you know, there's so much content out there about how to be more productive and how to use your time and calendaring and goal setting and scheduling and morning routines and all this kind of stuff. So what does your day look like? What sort of habits have you built up that you think have made you as successful as you are?
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, this has kind of changed a lot over time in various areas, but like I do remember those years. I was literally getting up at 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was getting my workout in. I changed my whole physiology, my mindset, and back then also we were doing a lot of short sales. I think this is like 13, 14, 15.
Okay.
But I realized by being able to start the day and getting my emails out to the banks at 5 a.m. was beneficial because it was right at the beginning of their day being in the East Coast. But so, I mean, that really propelled me into that routine and trying to keep a very, very positive mindset. I do remember also, back to my coach, Tom had challenged me to do basically like a daily journal of like affirmations and mindset, whatever the case.
Yep.
And so I believed that for like 3 to 4 years, I was writing in this journal. I was like, and if I didn't write it, and I believed truly that day was going to go to crap, And so every day I stuck to it. And I remember the hardest days I would journal twice a day and just keeping it going, but trying to keep the positivity.
Yeah.
And again, I became like an avid, follower, believer. I don't know if that's the term that you want to say, but I was an active coaching member. I like tried to soak up as much information as I could and surround myself with very positive quality people in the space to help just change my mindset because I realized it was like a lot of the stuff that I was just probably doing to myself or the self-sabotage that was pulling me out, off of my game where I'd get to a certain point and
absolutely
whatever would happen, man. And it was really, I learned it was literally mindset for the longest time. And once I figured that piece out and made that change through just daily action and daily exercise, not just lifting weights and running.
But you exercise in your mind mindset, too. Exactly. And being intentional. Yeah, that's so interesting. I was at a BNI meeting very early this morning, and it was like the first one where we actually met in person. And we were talking about, somebody was like talking about, it's like, it just feels different, because everybody's doing the Zoom thing because of COVID and all that. But, the reason I was telling them, the reason it feels different is because we literally have an energy field around our bodies. Right. And when that comes in contact with other people, you exchange energy. So if you are around people, like I want to have the kind of friend like Tony, who if I'm complaining about something, he's going to tell me, get your head out of your ass and make it happen.
Yep.
As opposed, you know, because that energy, you know, I'm going to like, okay, yeah. As opposed to like, oh, geez, Gary, like, aren't you scared? Like, what are you going to do? You should just take that job. You know, I mean, this just isn't going to work out for you. Yep. You know, like, I mean, that it does make a difference, you know, so who you're around, you know, the mindset, but like literally their physical energy definitely like makes a difference. And so I think, you know, supporting yourself and having other supportive people around you is huge. And every successful person that's been here in that seat has talked about the value of coaching.
Yep.
Everybody has said, I've got somebody that knows pretty much everything about me that, you know, if I try to make excuses or this or that, they're going to call me on it.
Right.
And they've helped me.
And we all need that. And whether it's a mentor, a coach, or whatever the case, I think some people think that coaching or mentorship is something different and like cheesy or whatever the case, but realistically it's not. It's really about somebody holding you accountable to what you are asking to be done or for your own dreams.
Right. Well, yeah, because your ego is going to bullshit yourself.
Yeah.
I'm going to bullshit myself. I can't do that today. I've got to go to the grocery store. There's no way I can get my journaling done.
Yeah.
It takes forever. I've got my kid with me, then I got this, and I'm going to bullshit myself.
Right.
So you need somebody that, you know, are you sure? Are you sure it's just not a priority for you? Got to have somebody that's going to call you on it.
Exactly. And so I feel like that was a big component of how we, you know, I was able to make, you know, a lot of different shifts.
Cool.
Over time.
Cool. Well, look, I know this is off topic, but I understand you love Cabo. What is the deal with Cabo? Tell me, like, what?
That's a
I've
huge
never
question.
been. Why do you love it so much? Should I go? What should I do when I'm there? I mean, a lot of people talk about it, but I've never been there, and you know.
So again, the things that I love about Cabo right now are the things that challenge me about it the most. But like, and it's like the, how do I put it? The pace of life, right? So here in California, especially, and you know, even maybe more so in San Diego, or maybe even more so in LA or somewhere like San Francisco, which is a busier area. But if you think about the speed at which our business operates, or the demand of our business and our family and our kids in school and our blah, 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 there's just so much demand on your time.
God, no kidding.
I feel like the hamster wheel is spinning faster and faster all the time. When you go to Cabo, and even though it's like, you know, a developed area, you know what I mean? And it's very Americanized, but it works a lot slower. And the funny term, but what I love about it is, you know, someone will tell you, oh yeah, we'll do that mañana or mañana, right? Mañana doesn't mean tomorrow. It just means not today.
Not now,
right?
not today.
Exactly. And I always
slow down.
I learned that when, you know, I'm down there, I'm trying to do business, I'm trying to buy a house, furnish a house, get people to move stuff from A to B, like just get services. And they're like, yeah, mañana. And they don't show up for like 4 days. And you're like, dude, I've got 5 days to get this stuff done. Like, you really thought you're going to come here and get all that done in 5 days?
Yeah.
And they're laughing at me. But here I'm like, you know, we can pound on whatever and everybody gets stuff done.
For sure.
They're like, dude, I'll do it when I get to it. And although that's really frustrating to me right now when I've got stuff to do, as I start to transition life and someday down the road, that's what I want to do. I don't want to have to worry about it. And I just love that chillax mentality.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing I love about Cabo is, you know, again, it's a fun place. I love the food. I love the people. I love the energy of it. I love that it's Mexico and we're speaking Spanish and it's different. You know what I mean? And it's always sunny. I love the sun and I mean, again, I don't like to wear a lot of clothes all the time, and I don't mean that in a weird way, but I'd rather walk around in like
shorts, flip-flops, and a t-shirt.
Exactly. And just be able to go in the ocean like, you know, 11 months out of the year. And that area it's just beautiful and enchanting to me in that way.
Cool.
And again, for me, I'm trying to pave a path to retirement for myself, and there's a lot of investment opportunity down there, which I was introduced to, you know, quite a few years back. And once I realized it and started kind of charting the waters of like, hey, you know, I realized a lot of people were leaving California and they were going to Texas or Tennessee or wherever the case. And I'm like, those are all great spots to go. But if you still want the beach lifestyle, you can just go to Southern California. I mean, it's Baja, but it's still Southern.
Yeah,
it's still California,
for sure.
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, crossing the border isn't always easy. Mexico is, you know, not the easiest place to do business in, but once you get it, there's a lot of opportunity there. And now I still feel like, you know, obviously if I would have bought in Cabo like 20 years ago, that would have been amazing today. But even right now, there's still so much upside opportunity with all the development, the amount of people that are starting to go there, and it's growing a lot. And so for me, I'm like, if I can start that now and start buying properties, and by the time I'm ready to retire, it'll already be there and we'll have made some money.
Right.
But at the end of the day, for me to be able to help people get outside of the normal well, I guess I got to move back east because I love California. I love the lifestyle, but I just can't.
Yep. Here we go back to Pittsburgh.
Or we, taxes or whatever the case. There's an opportunity to have that down in Cabo. So if I can help somebody, like, I don't know if you saw my tagline, but it's like buy, sell, invest, retire. And it's a whole cycle of life of real estate. And that's like, I feel like not even the final component, because you can invest there now, like at whatever age.
And you're tight. I mean, you're not just you're a it's an advisor. That's I can be your agent, but I also know about loans. I also know about investments. I also know about, buying and selling property in other countries. I know exactly. So that's really, it's a great position. And
that to me has been really rewarding to help a lot of people. I mean, even agents contact me now and they're asking, okay, hey, how can I get my client or help my client do this?
Yep.
And it's not like, I mean, obviously I'm not in Cabo every day, but I'm licensed in Cabo. I work for a broker there as well. And they've got a team of 50 people all over the place. So I have the right partner, the right people there where nobody's going to pick up the phone and be like, oh, I heard, I'm just going to call Cabo today and see if I get an agent. I'm going to seriously trust them.
Yeah,
right?
no,
not that they're not trustworthy. That's just the mindset of like, of somebody anywhere here in the States.
For sure.
They just have like a trust factor because there's just a lot of misinformation about Mexico, but they will feel confident calling me being like, okay, I know where you live. I know you've got a business here. I see what you're doing. So I trust you to help me lead the way. So I'm kind of like their guide in a sense. Right. And I work together with the client and my partner on the ground there, and we're helping people move.
Love it. Now, when you're not on the job down there, you like to drink a little bit of tequila down there in Cabo, do you?
I do. I like tequila, and I like to eat a lot of food.
All right.
Their seafood, the pulpo is my favorite.
I'm sure it's amazing. Yeah, seafood's great. Me being from Minnesota, the first time I came here and I was eating the seafood, I was like, what? Where has this been all my life? It's crazy. But I prepared a segment, a quiz, if you will, because I understand, you're a bit of a tequila connoisseur. So Tony's going to read some questions. We're going to both get a chance to answer. Levi will keep score. Yep. I'm calling this one 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, score.
Oh, not the floor.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can do that. You can hit the floor if you want, but
no,
we'll see.
Do that.
We'll see. All right. So I know nothing about tequila, so you'll probably mop the floor with me on this one.
All right, let's do this.
All right, guys. So there's gonna be 10 questions. I'm gonna read the question, and then I'm gonna give you a few options, and then you pick the option, and whoever gets the right answer gets 10 points.
All right. Do we have buzzers? Did you bring the buzzers? No.
No
buzzers. Do we have to answer in the form of a question?
I'm just going to give you the finger.
Right.
All right. No. So you're the guest, so you answer first and then me. But if you start winning all of them, then we'll flip flop.
Then we'll switch it up.
All right.
Okay, go for it.
All right, ready? So first question: which plant is used to make tequila?
Agave.
Okay. You want the options?
Agave, I'll say.
Okay. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. All right. Now, Gary, there is multiple choices.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right. Well, I was also going to say that.
Look, you know what? Something tells me you might be a tad on the competitive side.
He was
like,
right. Agave. So quick to answer.
Okay. I'll relax.
He's like, I'm gonna beat this guy's ass at this game.
Yeah.
All right.
That's my thing. All right, so 10 points.
You answer mañana. Yeah, right. Answer mañana. Okay. I'll answer now. You mañana.
You got it.
No, just kidding.
All right, so number 2. Where does tequila gets its name? 1. The city of Tequila, Mexico. Tequila is the Aztec word for water. Invented by the father Pedro Tequila. Named for Mount Tequila, an active volcano.
So A, B, could you read A, B,
my
C,
bad,
D for us? Okay.
There will be A, the city of Tequila, Mexico.
Okay.
A, right? And B will be tequila is an Aztec name for water. C will be invented by the father Pedro Tequila. And D, name for Mount Tequila, an active volcano.
Okay, so the second two are obviously not correct. It can't be correct. There's got to be one of the first ones. You go ahead and answer first.
I'll
give
me
an answer first?
Go for it.
All right, I'll say it's named after the city of Tequila, Mexico.
I'll second that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Father Pedro.
I know.
I want to make a brand now. Father Pedro's Tequila.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Oh, that's so funny. All right.
gosh.
So 20, right? Okay. A third question. Real tequila has which of the following sitting in the bottom of the bottle? A, there should be nothing in the bottom of the bottle. 2, a moth.
A moth?
Yeah. C, pieces of soil. And D, a worm.
Okay. I'm going to say a worm because that's the thing, right?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay, well,
I'd say nothing. Tequila doesn't have the worm.
that's correct.
What?
That's
I thought
That's
that-
mezcal.
mezcal. You're confusing it with. They both come from agave. But,
Damn, you always see in the movies, they're like,
Yeah.
tequila, don't swallow the worm.
oh, yeah.
Thanks a lot, Hollywood. Thanks
False
a lot, Hollywood.
advertising.
Right?
False advertising. All right. So Gary is winning.
Is he?
What did I say?
He said 1, and then he said B for this.
I did. I was
Throw a
yeah.
niner in
I
there.
know.
or something.
I'm trying to confuse you guys to
All right.
make this more exciting.
I like it.
All right, 4. During the early 21st century, which of the following things caused the price of tequila to rise dramatically? A will be blight killed many agave plants.
Like?
Yeah, I don't know
How
what
do
that
you
is.
spell it?
BLIGHT.
Oh, blight?
So
Okay.
that must be the answer because you can't make that stuff up.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So
A
you go.
volcano erupted.
Okay.
Mexican workers went on strike. Tequila was outlawed.
Okay, you know, like if you laugh, you're giving away that's something. You would be a terrible,
Yeah.
like Jeopardy.
I know.
All right, like you gotta, All right. So am I going first again?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna say. Okay, blight. What was it? Killed the trees or
Yeah.
something. Okay, I'm gonna say that.
The agave plant.
Yeah. Blight killed the agave plants.
I'm going to say volcano.
That's the blight.
I knew it. I just thought I would deviate because I really don't know.
Oh.
But I
right,
thought
so
that
you
had
guys
to be
say.
the thing because if he was making the rest of them up.
Yeah. Okay, so
okay.
are we tied up?
Yeah, so I'll try not to laugh.
Okay.
All right. So 5, okay?
Unless it's hilarious, then
Yeah, unless
You,
it's
you
not
can't not
okay.
laugh and talk about tequila. I
that's
don't know.
that's true. That's true.
All right. Which of these men is often recognized as the founder of the first tequila producing business in the world? A. Sergio Leone. B. Lorenzo Lamas. C. Raúl Julia.
Lorenzo, the
And
action star from the 80s?
Jose Cuervo.
Jose Cuervo.
Okay, I'm going to second that.
Yeah, that's correct.
Lorenzo Lama.
So fun fact and a quick plug. Okay. So Jose Cuervo's great grandson and great grandson in San Jose del Cabo, they have a mezcaleria and they have a restaurant next door. And I think I just told you guys this story, but at the restaurant next door, you can do a tequila tasting. And this isn't anything you thought you knew about Jose Cuervo is completely wrong. Like they're going to show you their family Reservo tequilas that are amazing, by the way. But again, you'll sample like much higher level tequilas as well as a 5-course meal, and it's a class of.
It's a real deal.
It's a real deal, very intimate experience. If you guys get the chance, you got to go check it out, and then go see Rigoberto next door. He'll teach you everything you want to know about mezcal.
Nice.
Nice.
You're welcome, Rigoberto.
All right. So number 6. Okay. So
We'll cut that clip up and then you can send
Yeah.
it. We'll send it to him.
like a promo or something. Yeah. Okay. 6 will be which kind of wood is usually used for the barrels used when aging tequila. Okay. A is oak. B, maple. C, banyan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And D is baobab. Or baobab or whatever it's called.
A oak.
All right, I'll say maple.
Maple. That's wrong. Oak.
It's oak.
Why didn't you point at him and say that's right? Why'd you have to?
I don't know. It's just fun. It's fun.
Usually the game show host, like when somebody gets the right, they go correct. They don't go, oh, you were wrong.
It's more fun to like,
Jeez.
you're wrong.
No, I thought you were gonna be like, you're wrong.
Yeah. All right. So I think Gary's winning again, right? Yeah. All right. So 7. Don't think too hard about this. But in 2009, it was discovered that tequila could be used to make which of the following things? A. Hockey pucks. B. Bath soap. C. White chocolate. D. Synthetic diamonds.
Is there a D, babies?
Oh.
I'm sorry.
No, that was amazing. Get the applause going. Okay. Hockey pucks. What? No, that's not my answer.
Okay.
I'm going to say synthetic. Wait, is it bath soap or synthetic? It can't be synthetic diamond. How could tequila make? I'm going to say bath soap. That was one of the options?
Yes.
All right, bath soap.
I have no idea. I was going to say the cure for COVID, but that's a little too early. I would also second bath soap. I can't see how it could be diamonds.
Well, the answer is synthetic diamonds.
Wow.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know how though, but yeah. According to this,
Tequila can make diamonds. Is there something that you're not telling
synthetic
us?
diamonds.
Dude, I have no idea.
It's that's why he said that. If he would have said synthetic diamonds, would have been like, Gary, come on, man.
Hook us up, man.
Come on, dude.
I made an oath not to tell anybody about anything about what I know.
Completely understand. I admire that.
Secrets of tequila. All right.
All right.
So 8. By law, any liquor called tequila must be produced in limited areas of Mexico. Is that true or false?
True.
True.
That's correct. Nice.
Same
How's the
thing-
score,
Same
Levi?
thing with mezcal.
Is that right? Has to be.
It can only come from 2 regions in Mexico.
Yeah.
All right. So Gary is winning for 10 points, right?
10 ahead.
2
Okay,
questions
so
left.
I have to get this right, and you have to get it wrong in order to just tie.
Yeah, you had 2 questions more left.
Oh,
so-
2 questions
Yeah.
left. Never mind.
Yeah. All right, so 9. What was special about the bottle of tequila that was sold by $225,000 in 2006? A. It was the oldest bottle of tequila in the world. B. The bottle was made of platinum. C. It had once belonged to Pancho Villa. C. The bottle was a big ass alcohol boss.
Okay.
I'll say it was the oldest bottle of tequila in the world.
What was
The
the other
Pancho
option?
Villa.
So it was the oldest bottle. The B is the bottle was made of platinum. C. It had belonged to Pancho Villa. And D. The bottle was a big ass bottle.
Yeah, I'd say the oldest bottle of tequila.
Actually, is B. The bottle was made of a
Platinum
material.
Yeah.
Man.
That would have been like a good second choice.
Yeah.
I don't know who.
All right. So, do you guys wanna?
I guess the vase is extra important, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
Let's
do you
go.
guys wanna? Do you wanna do the thing that we did last time? Like the wage? Yeah. You put your.
The what?
What are we doing?
How you have 60, he has 50.
No. That wasn't it. It was that if I win, Gary gives me $1 million. And that's it. No, just kidding.
And that's it.
Yeah, so you can take all your points and we can go like this, whoever, gets
Gets
one.
them
I
all.
don't know if you'd want to do that, though, because I pretty much,
You're only down 10.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would do it, but I mean, otherwise.
Well, we'd either tie or I win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I say
So if you want to wager it, let's do it.
wager it before.
It makes it more exciting.
I'd say let's put a bottle of Clase Azul on it.
All right. Sounds good.
My favorite.
Okay.
And we can sign the bottom of the bottle, and you can keep it for a vase in your house.
All right.
How about that?
All right.
Ah.
So if you win, I have to buy you a classic bottle of, what is it called?
Clase Azul.
Clase Azul. Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
No options. I just should answer straight out.
This is just gonna be a true or false type of question.
Okay.
All right. So 10. The Aztecs made a fermented drink from agave that they call pulque for centuries before the Spanish arrived in 1521. Is that true or false?
Hey Tony, can you do me a favor and like have this just a random ass odd question as the last one that like nobody would know?
You really?
I'm just kidding.
I'm going with false.
Okay, well in that case I'm going with true.
It is true.
Oh!
Snap.
Woo! Man, that was good. Honestly, that was intense.
I had no idea about the Aztecs, so that's my bad. I guess I should know.
Yeah, they made pulque. Yeah, it's very famous. It's not
That was
as famous
legit.
as mezcal and tequila. But
Well, here's what we're gonna do. Fortunately for me, but unfortunately for all you guys, I don't drink because I've been sober for like a decade. So you can
Nice
buy
work.
me that bottle and I'll just sign it and give it back to you.
Or
And then you can drink
we'll
it.
just disperse it amongst the group.
There
How
we
about
go.
that?
Yeah, round
How about
2,
that?
you come back and then all you guys drink it on the clock. I love it.
That's right.
Okay.
And nice work, brother, on the
Yeah.
sobriety.
Hey, yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, now, so that was a lot of fun. Back to the fun stuff. All right.
Yep. All right.
So, all right, I checked out your content. I want to talk a little bit about social media and marketing and things like that. And I mean, you do quite a bit here. I got your YouTube channel. I mean, it looks like, you have like the listing videos, but you're also doing, just like regular educational episodic video content on YouTube. You got, a few hundred followers. You post on Instagram regularly. You post on Facebook regularly. I see a nice balance between your business and your actual personal Facebook. So just, give me the rundown on that. What's that journey been like, and how important do you think content is? Do you get business off of it? How has it helped your business?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I guess we'll start like at the beginning, right? So back in like 2008, I think I went to my first conference at the Tom Ferry conference, and there Gary Vaynerchuk talked about social media.
Yep.
And I remember driving out there by myself and listening to the warm-up CD or whatever, and not knowing anything about Facebook, Instagram, MySpace, anything at all. Totally like not even on that
when
thing.
was this?
This was 2008.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so I remember going there and being like, okay, I just got to learn what this is. I don't even know how to care if I use it. I just need to figure out what it is and why, right? So fast forward, I have had like a very bipolar relationship with social media. I'll get super into it and then I'll get totally out. I just get burned down on it or whatever the case. My family's always like, Dad, another Instagram moment? Can't we just, whatever? And I'm like, all right, you're right. You know what I mean? And then I just stopped doing it for whatever. So what I learned was I needed somebody to help me with that, right? And so just as, you would hire, an assistant or an associate or somebody to kind of take over the part that you're not really good at.
Sure.
I mean, I loved social media. I love creativity. It's just about time, time.
Oh,
right?
it takes a ton of time.
A ton of time. And no one really understands that and whatever the case. But point being is, a couple years ago at this point, I was able to hire somebody incredible at, what she does. And I remember that like she was supposed to help me just keep like the consistency of whatever the case. So we had, certain post dates, but I remember when COVID hit and I was like, okay, we could either crawl under a rock and do nothing or because everybody's at home doing social media, they're online all the time. We need to like 10X everything that we do just to get something. So we literally were like doing 4 posts of something a day. And that's where, we've since backed off a lot because I don't want to be super obnoxious. But the thing is that what came out of that was a lot of those shows. Like I like to have fun on social media, but I also like to teach and coach and help give some valuable content to people. And so it evolved to doing like the Tips Tuesday or, obviously Cabo Friday speaks for itself. That's my one day because I got to tell you, like when I started doing the Cabo thing, people are like, dude, I don't know. Are you selling real estate here anymore in San Diego? I don't know if you're in Cabo, if you're here, like just everything's all over the place. So I'm like, all right, I need to like compartmentalize that. So Friday becomes the Cabo post day. Don't tell anybody I said this, but I'm still in San Diego and it's still, I'll still be doing a video walking around. People think I'm there, but I'm not there as much as it looks like. But the point being is having to like have a consistent schedule was very important. And so that way, I could get super into it and do, like have my love-hate relationship roller coaster with it and get all into it. And then if I back off because I just need a break or I need to spend more time with, those around me, like I can do that and it still happens, right? So my marketing manager does a great job at doing that. The content, building piece obviously is still something I've got to be very, aware of and in front of. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's tough to do, right? It takes a lot of energy and time and you got to just be consistent with it. And I'm not perfect all the time, but at the end of the day, I get a lot of good feedback and people are like, you think nobody's watching. And then all of a sudden somebody's like, I saw, all of these different videos and whatever the case. or they're referring me through social media and I didn't even know that they were following my account. I never saw a thumb, a finger, anything.
Yep.
And like, here they are referring me. So it's been a very, incredible part of our referral, in relationship business.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, I totally agree with you there. And I think the, whether or not you're perfect at it is like irrelevant. It's just not. Like you're consistent and, it's like being comfortable with just, maybe it's not perfect, but just go, just do something. Put it out there, and then naturally you get better. Naturally, the quality improves, and then you do get, because that same thing has happened to me where somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I saw I love that video that you did," and I'm like, "Which one?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I posted that like 4 months ago." And here's this person that I haven't seen, and they're talking about this random video that only got like 6 likes, but they still saw it and it still made an impression on them. So the consistency. That's awesome, man. And I mean,
one point though before you move on in that, but like same thing with video, right?
Yep.
It's not about perfection. It's about progress and in doing it and getting in front.
Totally agree.
People are like, but you're so good at it. You can just stand in front of a camera and do whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't start that
not when
way.
I started.
If I look back at videos from like 2008, 9, 10, I was like the most uncomfortable, awkward person in front of the camera, and I hated it.
Totally.
But knowing that I had to do it and just keeping doing it and staying in front of it and just learning how to be comfortable with it, and then rolling, and that's how you get it. But you've got to do it, right? You've got to get your face out there. And the thing about social media, I will say that, like, I say this to my team all the time, and I'll tell it to anybody else that's looking for, social media. All of the, the lifestyle shoots or the community pieces or something that people are doing that they're not in those are great, do them, but you also got to put yourself in there. I found that people want to, it's a way for them to connect with you. And although you might appreciate what if you're not involved in that video or in that photo all the time or whatever the case, the connection almost gets lost. So when you see a page and it's all something else besides the person, again, I'm not saying don't do that, but weave in a lot more about yourself and you, because it's social. People want to know about you, right? And so that's the thing that I think if I gave any advice today, that might be one of them.
Yeah, that's a great point. So like what, and then, there's social media marketing, but how about technology? Like, there's, the whole, one of the biggest parts of this show is talking with you guys who are in the field, how you think tech is going to change how real estate is done. So if you're forecasting in the next 10, 15, 20 years, like what sort of tech are you using and what do you forecast? How is, the tech disruptors or disruption going to change how real estate transactions and how the business is done?
Yeah. So, that's a very good question. And I'm actually going through, I don't want to call it a major reorg, but like, coming to Jesus with our, with myself and our business, model as a whole and our team as a whole and what we're doing to improve on that. And, I've always been using some sort of tech or tools or whatever the case, right? And have evolved them and made some mistakes with some and, some better hires, if you will, in terms of tech and systems with others. But I think the thing that, even though, Zillow has now just backed out of the market and whatever the case, which I think is an incredible thing, my own opinion. And I think a lot of people are happy about that. But I think what that taught us is that I never believed that the real estate agent would be insignificant. I feel like lower than average real estate agents would be insignificant with that model, right? But the point that we learned was that tech is coming. And I think that my last, in the last seminar that I went to with Tom Ferry, he was calling it like a blob. Like it's been coming forever and it's going to start to, just consume everything. So what was happening, and it made a lot of sense, is that, teams or people grouping together and being able to, address the market on a higher level, not just like with service oriented, but being able to, I don't want to use the word, I hate the word process, but process a lot of transactions and do a lot of business. I feel like I completely agree that in the next, coming years, the teams or the people or the real estate companies are going to be able to take care of more people at one time and process those bigger, transactions and number of volume, I think are the ones that are going to survive. I think it's becoming harder and harder to become a single agent. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And so in learning that, I realized that the business that I've, wanted to have a very tight core group and only doing 60, 80 transactions, et cetera, that we needed to learn to scale more. Like we've been putting systems in place to be able to do things at a higher level and really just increase our service so we're not in the weeds doing the stuff we can automate, but spending more time with our clients. But being to be like, okay, now I think we need to have like a 10-person team, and we need to be able to, be able to comfortably do 100 to 200 transactions at a high level of service. And I think if you do that with enough, if it's elegant and you're serving the client and, you're doing right by everybody, but again, it's not like you're fumbling and it's a big mess, and you can process those sort of transactions. The institutions are going to be delivering a lot more transactions to those teams or to those people who can do it. And whether it's, I'm not saying bank owned is going to be huge. I mean, maybe it is, but like there's a lot of institutionals that own a lot of properties. And I feel like that's going to start coming to the market, as well as the individual seller or buyer, but they want to know that you can handle their transaction at a very high level of service and be able to make it, very seamless. Yeah. And so to do that, you need tech, you need tools, you need systems to be able to run it. And the thing is, the people that you surround yourself with are always going to help pick you, each other up and create a much better name for that. So not only is that tech and systems going to be very important to help people do business at a high level, but again, people. I think people is going to be the number one resource into the future, and people who care, people who are, I say educated, not in the way that they have to be like college graduates or whatever the case, but I mean educated about their industry and about people and about just what they do, and they care. And I think that's going to be the biggest part, but being able to pull all those elements together to create a great real estate business, and I think that's who's winning in the future. Yeah, man. Wow. That's, I couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it. So I couldn't have said it better myself. That's great, man. Well, I think, that's pretty much all we have. But I mean, so I want to, thanks so much for coming on the show. But before we go here, you guys, you heard it from Gary Massa of Massa and Associates, and that's EXP, right? Yes, we're at EXP out of La Jolla. EXP out of La Jolla. Well, how do people get in touch with you, man? How do you want them to all the screaming fans, how do you want them to holler at you? Oh, man. Look in the camera and let them know. So Facebook, Instagram, my handle's, is it G Massa 2 or Gary Massa number 2? I've got you pulled. Right? I've got you pulled up right here. And again, Gary Massa on Facebook, Massa and Associates on Facebook, or you can always text me at 760-889-7701. But hit me up on social. Let's be friends. Let's go have a coffee. I'm here to help. Absolutely love that. And if you guys like what you heard in today's episode, you can check out more at www.thewhatsnextpod. Catch us on Instagram and Facebook at the What's Next Pod. All of our videos are on YouTube, so like, follow, subscribe, and share. And Tony, once again, take us out, man. What was your favorite part of the episode today? The game. The game was your favorite? Tequila game, yeah. Well, I mean, everything was very interesting, really, but the game, I mean, it's kind of like... Well, he's like, that's what I got to participate. Yeah, that's the only time I got to speak, man. I was kidding. No. Awesome. No, that's good, man. Anything else? That's it, man. We're ready to go. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much, Gary, Thanks again, guys. Yep, we'll have a round 2 at some point for sure. This was great. Tony, take us out, brother. Sit down with real estate agents and talk about how the industry is changing, thriving with technology. We look at strategy. We love it. And welcome to What's Next.